What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Axis Football, Baltimore Paladins. Here we are into the 2027 season. Going to go back, talk about what we went through before. At the start of the season, we actually discussed replacing either starting quarterback, starting halfback, depending on the draft class. Our quarterback, Max Mikado, getting into his 30s. We were running kind of halfback by committee, but didn't really have a true lead back. So as we scouted, quarterbacks looked like the best option. We were trying to scout top 7 to 15 quarterbacks. We were also looking for new kickers. The original concept was actually to this be Max's final season and groom our new starter. So we start the season 5-4. We have injuries to halfback Logan Bullen. He actually went out for the season. Garrett Padilla, he was our offensive lineman out 6 weeks. Devon Nash, our fourth rounder from last year, stepped right up into Bullen's role. Gary Knight came off the practice squad to replace Padilla. So that depth we've been working on finally shows up. And we were battling back, honestly, until we lost our wide receiver, Charles Foster. Our starting halfback, Colby Waters, went down. So what we went ahead and did, and we've had such mixed results with this, we needed to make like a playoff push. Our morale has been pretty high. We decided to go sign a halfback. So we shopped the market. We offered Jeffrey George, who was the best back out there, a one-year, $4.6 million deal. He wanted a longer contract. So we went with Grayson Barrett. We signed him to a 2-year deal, $1.6 million. He's going to back up our backs, right? So we lose another game. We're on the fringe of making the playoffs. We beat Nebraska. Colby Waters returns to the starting lineup, leads us to a playoff berth against Kansas City, and then we go in and lose the divisional game to Green Bay. After the season, Corey Ireland retires, and in the draft, we stuck true to the plan. Round 1, Terrell Osborne, quarterback. Round 2, Mario Castro, linebacker. Round 3 actually fell to us. Marquise Stokes, quarterback, we had debated taking with the number 1 pick. Round 4, Larry Parker, defensive back. Round 5, Justin Ward, offensive lineman. Round 6, Isaiah Alvarez, a kicker. And then we kind of did something unconventional. Round 7, Franklin Carr, another kicker. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But in a bit of a surprise move, Johnny Poole, who had been our backup quarterback, requested a $20 million 2-year deal. Way more than we were willing to offer him. Actually, more than our starting quarterback was making him. So we just released him. We also released halfback Bullen after his contract demands actually exceeded fellow halfback Christian Hodges, who had the same production and didn't have an injury. And we released Grayson Barrett after that poor performance, even though we signed rid of that 2-year deal during the season. Wide receiver Charles Foster re-signed a 4-year deal, $8.2 million, probably his final because he's getting into his 30s. After overcoming some injury issues, we offered Omar Cruz a $7.6 million, $5 million deal. Offensive lineman Dante Burgess, longtime starter, actually took a pay cut. We went to negotiate the contract. He dialed it back, so he's got a 5-year, $3.5 million deal. Also, probably his final. We released longtime starting linebacker Angelo Thompson. Sam Luttrell is going to be thrust into the starting lineup. We traded for him 3 seasons ago. This is his last year on contract, so this is basically a prove-it season. He's either going to be a dominant linebacker or we're going to go ahead and let him go. Defensive backs, Alexis Franklin and Jerome Harvey both got released. Kicker, obviously, released Jason Wenger after we signed 2 rookies. In terms of coaching, defensive line coach Raphael Sherman re-signed after a failed attempt to replace him with a special teams guru in Billy Hayden. And based on the run game struggles really affecting like our playoff run and our championship performance, we kind of made, I don't want to say it's a mistake, but the more I've thought about it, man, we signed halfback Sheldon Brewer at 31 years old to a single-year deal. We also have our top wide receiver, Sean Murray, who's going to be 31 years old. So it's going to be interesting to see how these old guys can bring the veteran presence this year. We also, to help with some injuries and recovery, man, we purchased a sauna for the team facility. So here's what we were going to do. We're going to take a look at the depth chart. As you can see, Terrell Osborne here, ready to take over next year for Max Mikado. We've got, obviously, the kickers here. We're going to start with Alvarez. We're going to give Alvarez half the season. Then we're going to bring in Carr for the rest of the half, and we're going to see who does the best. We're going to have like a kickoff. The aforementioned aging Sheldon Brewer on that 1 year just kind of filling in his career deal. And then wide receiver Sean Murray, 34 years old, actually. I undercut him. I said he's 31. He's actually 34. So it's okay, though, guys. We got good young receivers back behind him for the most part. So I think we're going to be okay. As far as draft is concerned, you know by now it's buying the scouting report, even though she's $2 million. And it looks like our answer for running backs is in the South. So, excuse me, no. See, I would have got us drafted in the wrong place. It is in the Central. We really don't see A-plus backs all that often, so we're going to go heavy in terms of looking for a running back because that is what we need more than anything right now. So we're going to go ahead, especially in the Central, take a look at all these running backs. I don't know why I just scouted a punter because I wasn't paying attention, but sometimes that happens. So we're going to get everybody looking at running backs here, and we're going to make that the absolute priority, guys. We're going to see if we can't find ourselves a solid running back, and that's going to pretty much be like all our pieces that we could get in the draft. How about Raymond Williams, right? Would love to have him, especially after the Ricky Williams jersey. Don't know if you guys saw on my Twitter. Got a beautiful autographed Ricky Williams jersey this week. Has a very cool inscription on it, too. Let's take a look here. We're not worried about the Northeast. There really isn't even any good running backs over here. So, I think we're just going to stick to the Central, man. I guess we have to skill those points out at some point. So, let me get his scouting focus over to running back. This might be a situation where, like we've done in the past, we go with more than one. Because we definitely want to make sure that we get the best players. Or the best players we can get, because just like before, we really weren't sure where we were going to end up as far as where the picks are. That's one of the things when it comes to scouting these players, we don't know where we're going to end up picking. We had a better year than we expected last year. We could have an awful year this year. So let's go ahead and knock out a couple games. Start it off with a loss. Love to see it. Follow it up 1-1. Let's check for injuries real quick. I do see something surprising. Offensive Player of the Week, Sheldon Brewer, already tearing it up. 22 rushes, 151 yards. How many touchdowns? I'll wait for it to come back over there. 3 touchdowns. We have not had too many Players of the Week, so good to see the old guy getting in on the action. Go ahead through and go to a 2-1 season. We will go to a 3-1 season. Go ahead, come over here. We have no injuries, which is great. We're going to use some of these scouting points. I really, for whatever reason, I want to get Ramon Williams now, and I can't even tell you why. And he's a defensive lineman. He's not even what we're looking for. So maybe he'll fall into our lap. Who knows? The big central running backs here. So Ronald Charles, Brett Simpson, Damian Holmes. Hopefully one of these guys is going to call Baltimore home at the end of this deal. You can see the more you learn about some of these players, they fall so far down. We already have a Padilla. We have a Padilla that's a lineman, or we did have one. Jaquan Thomas, so there, that takes care of these guys. At least we're getting our scouting cleared away. See if we can't stay atop the division here. 4-1. 5-1. So after that first drop, we're to a 5-game win streak. Absolutely no injuries. And if you were here before, we were talking a little football. We're talking about Baltimore and Pittsburgh. So even in the Axis League, you know this is going to be a rivalry game as the Paladins take on the Ironhawks. We'll see who gets the better of it. It's going to be Baltimore 6-1. There's a division lead for us. Still no injuries. Going to go through here and just continue to scout away. Really go down the list on some of these guys. Stevens, Henderson. That's it. So we better make sure we have full scouting reports on everybody here, especially being that this is the Central. At least we've done a little bit of diligence on what we thought were going to be the top guys. So Turner is next. Out here, we're filling in Pearson, Patton. Patton went way down. I have a feeling we're going to end up with someone like Bruce Rodriguez because he is way down the list in this division. I would be happy. I would actually, if we could get an A running back, I think, no mistake. I mean, even though it's an older running back, I feel like the reason that we just had such a good rushing performance is because of where we were. So this is going to be week 7. So we're going to go one more game, and then we're going to switch our kickers. So that is going to give us a 7-1 record. We're going to go over, and we are going to take a look at the depth chart, and we are going to go ahead and pull Alvarez and put in Franklin Carr. So this is the kicker by committee to determine who actually stays. And we'll take a look at their stats real quick. Well, I guess we can only take a look at one of their stats. Maybe not. I guess one of them has to be punting. So we pulled him after going 14 for 14 and missing one extra point. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Take a look here. I'm going to show you the season stats for Brewer. I wish, I've talked about it in the past, they would keep track of all their stats. When you look at a player like Colby Waters, you can see every single year that he's been here is recorded. So I wish that's something they would work on. So now with the new kicker in, we'll go ahead and simulate another 2 games, as it looks like we're off to a pretty solid season, 9-1. After dropping that first game, we have not dropped another since. Still no injuries. We'll go back out here, finish scouting these running backs. I also have kind of a, I don't want to say a recap, but I also have a kind of a video where I went over all the things that Access Football has provided us over the couple hours at this point that we've streamed it. And it's interesting to me, there's no storylines here. You know, it's nothing that runs out and, you know, slaps us in the face of, you know, hey, this is what your players are doing, or this is the interaction they're having. It's just you kind of go through here and you learn what's going through your team's chemistry. You know, where do you struggle, where you don't, where you need to draft players, where your old players are. You know, I don't want to say you even create storylines. It's just things kind of fell into place to have these 2 dueling kickers. We finally lose another game there, so now we're 9-2. So we dropped the game to Carolina. Close one, though, 36. Part of me wonders if we didn't just miss a field goal. So let's take a look here at the team leaders. Go over to kicking. So Carr and Alvarez, look at that. Carr actually missed 2, so if he was just in for that game, he definitely just cost us a game. So he attempted 5 field goals and missed 2. So I think that already answers our question that Isaiah Alvarez is our guy. We don't need to do any type of assessment. So Alvarez comes back in after literally making that change, cost us the first game. So it didn't affect team morale, but that's crazy that you would lose a game by 2 points and bring in a new kicker. So live and learn. We're not going to do the full split, and we'll have to release him after the season. If not, I guess, you know, part of me wants to release him right now while it's so fresh in my mind. Let me just make sure that really happened. And Alvarez is right back to just kicking him right away. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead here out to the depth chart. And Franklin Carr is going to go to the practice squad. And then we'll go ahead and elevate the best player we have. That's not a quarterback or running back, because I know we've got Marquise Stokes sitting out here. So that'll be defensive lineman Donnie McDaniel. And then at the end of the season, we'll make the cut. While we're out here, might as well just continue to wrap up scouting, as we're pretty much down to the end. Have to go back and pick one more there. But I feel like at least as we complete these scouts, nobody is jumping down a whole lot, which, at least if nothing else, leads me to feel like we have a pretty firm grasp on where these guys are seated. Of course, we're also really hurting ourselves in other positions, but sometimes that's the way it goes. We have experienced relative success in just simply now we have 2 injuries. Stuart Washington out for the season as our tight end, and Sheldon Brewer, the aging Sheldon Brewer, is out for the season with a dislocated shoulder. So I guess it's time to just send him over to the practice squad because he's done. And then in his place, we will pull one of the other running backs. So that plan didn't work as intended at all. So we'll go ahead and back and just make sure we got the best. Need to go to depth chart. The running back in place, which is going to be Colby Waters. And then Quentin McKinney can go ahead and pick up the slack at quote-unquote fullback. So, had a decent season going, just obviously couldn't stay healthy, and I guess at the end of the day, that's what we're supposed to expect when you have a halfback that's 30 years old. You know, they've been through the game, whether it's the Axis League or not. It's also why we're spending all this time out here recruiting a replacement, because may get more than one. May luck out like we have in the past. Of course, I don't want to say we lucked out with the kickers. You know, look at how that worked for us. Cost us a game right away. So we're going to go to 12-2 after winning another 3 in a row, another rivalry game here with Pittsburgh. And then we are going to wrap the season up. Now, with our old kicker, let's see if we can beat Carolina. We couldn't beat them before. They're 4-11. I would assume that we beat them now based on the fact we are 4-12. So we are going to play in the championship game against the Arizona Heat for the round 1 of the playoffs. And then we were going to get to the actual championship game where we lost before, round 2. So just make sure we got the same 2 injuries, and we do. Knock out the rest of these scouting points for the season's end, and then it is time to go ahead and see if we can't win this championship. It's kind of been a long time coming in trying to win this one. We've been turned back twice, so we'll see if third time is going to be the charm. And then obviously the joy of continuing to try to stay at the top. I don't know if we actually learn any more as we use more points, but we'll give it a shot. All right, so here we go. We have made it to the Ultimate Championship game here, Tier 1. Nobody else got injured. We lost again in the Tier 1 Championship game. So that's going to be 2 years in a row. We're going to take a look at our retirees. Gary Knight, offensive lineman. See if we have any coaches that need to be signed. We have 1 coach. It's going to be Sebastian McCarthy next year. This is our quarterbacks coach, and this is an interesting one because we've been grooming quarterbacks, and we've done so well at the position. So he is a passing expert. I just want to see if there's anybody else out here from an offensive standpoint that has badges, and they don't. So we are going to go ahead and give him whatever he wants because we haven't had any issues. Go over here and take a look at where exactly we are with player contracts. I guess we'll do the draft technically first, and it's no surprise what we'll do. Right? Watch there be great defensive players that we need. I already didn't like what I saw. Whew. So you know what? Here's the interesting thing about this. You don't often see this many Bs, especially this late. I mean, we're the last pick in the first round. There's a lot of running backs here, and the best thing we're looking at is C+s. Let's see if anybody has A+ speed, and nobody does. I know that it isn't the conventional way to do this, but here, areas of need, everything is pointing at running back, isn't it? Running back and offensive line. I was aware, but I mean, I think we're going to have to trust the summary here. Just take a look at. I'm trying to figure out it's the awareness between Morrison and Jared Curry. Morrison is a more fit player. So I believe we're going to make the call to go with Morrison. We're going to come back here. We're going to look to take another one. I think I talked about even when going with him that I liked Brett Simpson. The B-plus speed is nice to have. I don't know that we're going to have many more drafted here. So, not many more that we looked at. So let's see where offensive linemen are. We've got C+. Anybody really good blocking? We got a Franklin Owens and a Cedric Butler. We're going to come back and see if we can get one of them. Any other Bs in here other than kickers? Interesting, there's still some high-up quarterbacks. Not that we need them, but got a B+, C+. Is Emilio? Emilio is not listed there. We did just lose a tight end for the year, too, so I think we're going to go back. I think I like the Emilio McGee pick. 6'2", B+ speed. I don't know where he can't be too far down this list. He's right there. So, bit of a reach, but I think I like players with the B+ speed. They seem to work out well for us. Still think we probably would be better off leaving some of the running backs alone. See what we have in. Jack West is a B tight end. I mean, this late, I like it. Anybody? Jamal Neal has an A awareness. There's a B coverage with a D+ speed. How do you work that out, Jay Casey? I don't think it's going to work too well for you. Any fast linebackers? Any Patrick Willis hanging around? Patrick Willis, man, that guy was a monster. I think we've lost. I don't want to do another. I do not want to do another running back at this point. Where was the offensive lineman? Franklin Owens. I mean, he's B blocking. Cedric. I think we were looking at Cedric Butler, but it looks like Franklin Owens may be a bit better. I don't know. Franklin Owens has the D+ speed, so we'll go ahead and bring him on board. We're only going to get 2 more picks here. I don't know if we're looking for a diamond in the rough this late, but I don't want to end up with a million running backs here either. There's nobody really jumping out at me. It is such slim pickings down at the end of these draft classes. I guess part of me thinks if we spent this many picks, we might as well try to draft somebody, but it's also very strange to come out of here with that many halfbacks. So we'll get another wide receiver, and then you know what? If one of these drafted guys is still there, we'll go with Alvin Pearson, just because he's got a football-centric name in Pearson. So we wanted to get B's, and we just did not get out of there with it. But we're definitely going to cut loose a lot of our running backs, as well as a kicker. So I would think of all the seasons we've had as far as draft, that's got to be one of the worst ones. Taking a look at where most important aspect of the game lays, Terrell Osborne ready to go. Ashton Frazier looks like he's ready. As far as our running backs, I mean, there's a plethora of them here, and we just added a whole bunch of C's. So Colby Waters is probably going to get the pull, and then we'll probably end up having to let Sheldon Brewer go. We're not going to re-sign him. Although when I went down, it made me think that it was Justin Ward who was 22, and it's certainly not. Looking over at our wide receivers, again, the aging Sean Murray fell off a little bit. Offensive line, everybody seemed to do okay for the most part. D-line, linebacker, everybody knows what's coming up next. What happened to me? I fell off harsh. On my 36-year-old career year, I fell off big time, and it's a contract year, so who knows what we're going to do with ourselves. So some of the names are not cited right there. So we're going to go through player contracts here. Obviously, we already know the drill. Sheldon Brewer, appreciate the 1 year of service, sir. Best of luck continuing your career. We don't have $13 million for you, Chief. We've instead got a good amount of rookies to sign here, and I think we're going to get them all signed for less than he wanted for 1 year. So we're going to try to bring Pearson on board, try to bring Simpson on board, try to bring on Morrison, and literally just running back by committee these guys. We got, we didn't get that many rookie receivers, so we're going to bring on 2 that are C's, which means Gustavo Boone, who's been with us a while, we're just going to go ahead and let him go. It's an awful lot of money for that, too. So we're going to go and release him. He's probably going to be replaced by DeAndre or Emilio. And then we had a tough decision to make because we really need to cut one more. Chad Dean, 31 years old. Jalen Hayne. I think, you know what? Let's see who wants the least amount of money. Sean Murray, we really can't give a receiver that's 35 years old a big contract. Certainly not $16 million. But we're going to do what we always do. We're going to give him an opportunity. You know what? We're not. We're just going to go, you know what? I feel bad. Let's see if he'll take. No, I can't do it. I was going to offer him a lowball contract. I don't want to be that type of owner, that type of coach. Sean Murray, 35 years old. It's been a great run, my friend. You have a great rest of your career. Go earn a trophy somewhere else. Sorry we couldn't bring it to you. Chad Dean, 31 years old. Jalen Hayne, 27. Let's see who wants less money. Chad Dean wants $5.2 million. I'm pretty sure that's the door. Jalen Hayne, $6.3. I'm going to sign Jalen Hayne, $6.3 million, 5 years. Now he wants more. Well, you know what, Jalen? We're going to put some fear into you because we're going to release Chad Dean. So you watch your buddy Chad pack his locker beside you. Now let's come back and talk about this $6-8 million, buddy. That's what I thought, my friend. Stuart Washington came over in the trade, injured this year. Jack West is our rookie, so let's bring him on. Christian Stevens, we have really no need for 2 30-year-old tight ends, so we're going to go ahead and release Christian Stevens. And we've got a tough decision here to make with Stuart Washington. This is pretty much a retirement contract for him, $8.5 million. A overall. If he'll take that, I'll be happy to offer it to him. He wants a little more. We'll go up 1. All right, so he takes it. Offensive lineman Franklin Owens. Franklin, how many games have you watched, Chief? We don't take 2-year deals here. We throw out 6-year contracts. And here's the moment we feared, guys. This year and next year, we have some real concerns about our hose because we've had these hose for a very long time. And to be honest, we haven't been paying our hose really well. And in this game, in any walk of life, if you've got a decent hoe, you've got to pay the hoe. And we just have been guilty of not paying our hoes enough money. But now our hoes are here to collect. And I feel like these hoes are going to want to get paid. And as soon as I hit this button, I have a feeling we're going to be looking at a massive number. And I don't know how we're going to be able to pay it. But we'll see. Billy Ho, first draft pick we ever had, man. Please don't do us dirty. $16.7 million for 3 years. Billy. William, if you will. William Ho. Can we do a 5-year deal? Can we do a 5-year, $16 million deal, please? No, okay. How about a 16.25 year? Okay. He's the only defensive lineman. He's the only defensive line we got to sign. All right. We're not going to nickel and dime you. Can we at least get a 5-year deal if we give you the 16.8? Thank you. All right. We're going to back out here because I'm going to stay true to my word. We gave Sam Luttrell a prove-it deal. All right? So we're going to look at these stats And we're going to see if he lived up to a contract. If not, I don't even want to hear it. I'm not even in the mood to deal with this guy. Defense. You better be leading in tackles. And you're not. Emilio Mason is. How does this happen, Samuel? How do you not lead us? Are you leading us in anything? You see what the Hoes are doing in sacks. Samuel Luttrell. You're not leading us in anything except disappointment. You're leading everyone here in disappointment. Career stats. This was the injury year. This was the injury year. This was the year he tried to bring it back. And it's not even his best season. It's not even his best season. This guy's playing behind two of the best Hoes in the league. So, I hate to be mean about it, but at the same time, I mean, we'll look at what he wants as a contract, but unless it's practically free, $6 million for 4 years, I mean, even Isaiah Frazier knows his value more. 25 years old, B, signed, Samuel Luttrell, we're going to have to let you go. I would say it's been a pleasure, but ever since we traded you, we just haven't seen the value or the production, so I'm hoping you're going to be one of those players that goes and rejuvenates your career somewhere else, but you're always going to have a space in the hearts of all the Baltimore Paladin fans as that one trade that we really screwed up. Yes, I am sure. That problem has now been solved. All these defensive backs, huh? Let's just see how much I want. Let's just see. I mean, I have to sign myself back. Will I give myself a pay? Can I work with myself here? Yes. I worked with myself rather well. So, $12.7 million, my cousin Keegan. Dustin Dunn wants $8.6 million for can we get 6 years out of you? 6 years out of a 30-year-old, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to ask. I know I just signed myself at like 36, but we've got a dilemma here. We have a pretty big dilemma. Jalen Roy has got 1 year left on the contract. Nick Casey has 1 year left on the contract. Jalen Roy's probably going to be done after this season. Patrick, Sharp, Wade. We've got a pretty good set, other than Sharp, coming up on this. Nicholas Ritchie has been one of our other significant busts as far as a trade. So it's going to be between him and Carpenter. I don't want to keep both. So he wants 10.10 for 3 years. Carpenter wants 12.6 for 3. Let's see if Carpenter will take 12.3 for 4. Yes, that's going to cut Ritchie free. Now it's between Dustin and Keegan. Dustin's 30 years old. I think Keegan has been a 6th-round draft pick. I actually, as a spoiler, compared him to an Antoine Bethea-esque player. I feel like he's the guy we have to keep and sign up for the long-term deal. I mean, this guy has literally played himself into a starting role. Dustin Dunn, I think we need maybe a 2-year stopgap here. So if we can get a 2-year deal worked out, a 2-year, $9 million deal, perfect. That's exactly what we needed. Now, we all know what has to happen here. We're going to have to cut Carr. Other than that, we're pretty much good to go. We're going to make that big change at quarterback, and then we're going to obviously look at free agency. But it is the next season. It's one of the longer seasons, too. That was the most we've dealt with in the offseason. So, not worried about quarterbacks. Maybe worried about running backs. Hugo Cunningham is a B with B speed, 27 years old. Connor Hunt, wide receiver, 31 years old. Really don't have a need. Tight end, Brad Ruiz. C speed, A awareness. That might be interesting for us. Offensive lineman Ashton Burgess, 29 years old. Defensive lineman Marvin Guerrero. Don't really worry about that. Linebacker, where is he? Where is he? Did he retire? Emmanuel, where are you? I don't know where Emmanuel went. Maybe he left. Maybe he was like, you know what, I can't play here anymore. But we already knew that, Samuel Luttrell. All right, I think the only thing we really have to look at is halfbacks. I mean, we just went so draft heavy. And as you can see, it's left us with a lot of C-plus players. I hate to do this a second year in a row, but I think we're there. Hugo Cunningham, let's see what he wants to do. A $4.2 million deal? You know what? I want to make sure that we cement this. This is going to be a 5-year, $4.8 million deal. There we go. We got what we kind of needed after all. Nobody really wide receiver. I think we're pretty much set. So going over, taking a look at the practice squad. Want to pull our best players over. One of them is going to be a quarterback because we're going to put Nicholas Casey over. We're going to put Alejandro Wade over. We have to figure out a way to release Franklin Carr. So I don't know that I've released somebody during a season, and I don't know where that would be. Depth chart? Depth chart? No. Roster. I don't know how we can release somebody until they have their contract. So I guess he's just going to sit there and, I don't want to say rot on the practice squad. I mean, for lack of a better term, that's what he's going to do. So take a look at our revenue here. Things look pretty solid. We're still, obviously sitting on a ton of money. Probably have to do something to the facilities this year. I guess it might be... And these guys are killing our general seating again. This is like 3 years in a row we've had to deal with this. Everything here looks good. We're going to go ahead and put the trainer's room back. It's $4 million. Going to go ahead and upgrade the plane. And then, this general seating, I guess, just has to be fixed if it's just okay. So that's all done. So that's the most we've ever spent. With what could be considered one of the worst teams that we actually have out here, too. So just to go back through here, it is time. It actually already happened. Terrell Osborne era starts next season. Max Mercado to the bench. Hugo Cunningham is free agent running back despite the heavy draft that we had. Jonathan Alvarez leads the receiving corps. That is probably one of the better in the league. Stuart Washington returns. We're going to go sign, though. We're going to sign that tight end, that 27, 28-year-old tight end, Brad Ruiz. We'll just give him a little bit more. We're going to actually put him in as the starter. I know that's a bit of a pullback, but he's got to be taken off the actual bumped up from the practice squad, so we probably can pull a defensive back. I guess it'll be this guy. Who's literally just here for moral support at this point. Yeah, running backs are... We got a lot of running backs. The problem is we don't have any good ones. So we will go ahead and fix that. And that's going to be the whole squad here. Did Brad Ruiz just get a year older? I thought he was 27. Must have just had a birthday. So, offensive line looks solid. We already know the defensive line was in good shape. Linebackers, not the best group we've had, but it's the group that we've drafted. So, we're proud of them for that. Defensive backs, again, looking solid. We just got to get this running back situation under control. If we can get this under control, even if it takes another year, we'll be in really good shape. We're not doing it. So, with that, guys, appreciate you watching this one. I don't know. Now that it's a little later than I expected, I don't know that we'll get another one in. If I do, though, I will go ahead and put a link over back on my YouTube channel. If not, appreciate you guys checking this out. And I will be back in the week with more commentary.